We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. Maldives suspends 3 ministers after India strongly raises concerns over derogatory remarks against India. Explore Indian islands #trends. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina wins 4th straight term. Her party secures 2/3 majority in polls. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will hold talks in the UAE and Saudi Arabia on Monday before heading on to Israel. Netanyahu pledges to continue Gaza war until all goals achieved. Zverev leads Germany to United Cup title against Poland in Sydney. And on to details now. The Maldives government on Sunday suspended 3 deputy ministers after they made derogatory remarks in their social media post against India. According to the sources, the Indian High Commission in Maldives on Sunday strongly raised and expressed concerns about the comments made in regard to Prime Minister by certain ministers in the Maldives government with the Foreign Office. Also taking action on the matter, the Maldives government in a statement said the government of Maldives is aware of derogatory remarks on social media platforms against foreign leaders and high-ranking individuals. These opinions are personal and do not represent the views of the government of Maldives. The government believes that the freedom of expression should be exercised in a democratic and responsible manner and in ways that do not spread hatred, negativity and hinder close relationships between the Maldives and its international partners. The 3 suspended ministers are Mariam Shuina, Malsha Sharif and Mehzoom Majid. Ministers were in the Maldivian Youth Ministry. Hashtags including Explore Indian Islands, Maldives, Lakshadweep and India Out continue to trend on X amidst the controversy. Several Indian celebrities and social media influencers also joined an online campaign calling for a boycott of the Maldives. And an update on Bangladesh polls. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has won re-election for the 4th straight term as her party secured an absolute majority amid low turnout in the general election. Hasina's ruling party, Awami League, has won 2/3 of the seats in the general elections marred by violence and a boycott by the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party and its allies. Hasina will serve another 5 years in office after her party won 165 seats in the 300-seat parliament. Hasina won the Gopalganj 3 seat for the 8th time since 1986. Sunday's result comes after mass arrest of BNP leaders and supporters. The BNP boycotted the election after the Awami League rejected their demands for an independent caretaker government to preside over the polls. And DD India correspondent Naval Singh Parmar joins us live from Dhaka on elections. Well, Naval Singh, Sheikh Hasina wins a 4th straight term and retains her title as the world's longest-serving female head of government. This was more or less evident after opposition had boycotted the election. What do you have to say?
Yes, yesterday 4 p.m. voting ended, and soon after that counting for the 12th parliament election in Bangladesh started. Still now, officially 227 seats, result for the 226 have been declared, and out of that 165 seats are won by the Awami League government, Awami League party, and the surprisingly around 50 seats are won by the independent candidates, and independent candidate gave a tough fight to the Awami League and other political parties which are on in race for the this parliamentary election. And yes, as you mentioned that this is the big victory for the Sheikh Hasina and her party, that they secure the 4th consecutive term in Bangladesh and the fifth overall. Yeah.
Right. Also, the Election Commission has put a turnout at about 40%. It's a sharp drop from the 80% participation in polls in 2018. Why do you think the turnout was so low?
Actually, main opposition party, Bangladesh Nationalist Party and its ally boycotted the election, alleging the free and fair election are not possible under the Sheikh Hasina-led Awami League government. And its effect on the polling percentage, it's evident. And apart from that, there were no opposition virtually. So people were in a mood that it will be easy for the Awami League government. So many people didn't went for voting. However, the fight given by the independent candidate is evident from this result.
Also, in the act of violence, thousands of Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh have been left without shelter after a suspected arson attack ripped through their camp, burning nearly 800 homes. What is the status right now?
This incident is separate from the election-related violence. It is maybe due to short circuit or some other cause for the fire in the Rohingya camps. And it's true that around 70,000 Rohingya people lost their shelter in the fire as they gutted the many huts and the dwellings of the Rohingya people. But it is not linked with the election-related matters.
All right. Thank you so much for that update, Naval Singh, and telling us about the election update. And moving on, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken assured Arab leaders that Washington opposes the forcible displacement of Palestinians from Gaza. Blinken met with Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani at Lusail Palace on Sunday during his ongoing Middle East trip. Following a separate meeting with top Qatari officials, Blinken said Palestinian civilians must not be pressed to leave Gaza.
Many Palestinian civilians are suffering from insufficient access to food, to water, to medicine, to other essential supplies. Children, most of all. We continue to raise with Israel the need to do everything possible to facilitate the provision of humanitarian aid to Gaza, and I will do so again when I'm there later this week.
Well, Blinken also said discussions included efforts to free the more than 100 hostages still believed to be held by Hamas after an earlier agreement mediated by Qatar broke down.
To those still being held hostage, to their loved ones, to their families, I promise you this: the United States will continue to work relentlessly to bring you home, to get you together with your family and loved ones.
Blinken was in Jordan early on Sunday and will also travel to Israel, the West Bank, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia and Egypt during his fourth trip to the region. European Union's top diplomat Josep Borrell is also touring the region to try to quell spillover from the war into Lebanon, the West Bank and Red Sea shipping lanes, where Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis have vowed to keep up attacks until Israel halts its campaign in the Palestine. Well, Israel will continue war in Gaza until Hamas is eliminated and all Israelis returned. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated this at the weekly cabinet meeting on Sunday, saying the war will continue till they ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel.
We are not stopping until victory. The war must not be stopped until we achieve all of its goals: the elimination of Hamas, the return of all our hostages, and ensuring that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel. I say this to both our enemies and our friends. This is our responsibility and this is our commitment. Every other consideration must be set aside and we must continue until the total victory.
Dozens, including Israel's war cabinet member Benny Gantz, gathered for the funeral of the Lieutenant Colonel Mordechai at Tel Aviv's Kiryat Shaul cemetery. Mordechai fell in combat on January 6 in the northern Gaza Strip as the Israel-Hamas conflict continues. He was a section commander and promoted posthumously from major to lieutenant colonel.
זה חלק מהמכתב. העולם אומר, אמור לי חבריך ואומר לך מי אתה. שמחים שהתשובה שלנו לשאלה.
Meanwhile, family members of remaining Hamas hostages in Gaza called on Qatar and other negotiating parties on Sunday to double up efforts to secure the release of their loved ones. The family said they had meetings over the weekend with Qatari senior officials involved in negotiations. With time passing by, family members continue to express anguish that the world attention is shifting elsewhere. Of around 240 people taken captive on October 7th, almost half were released by Hamas during a brief truce in November. And amid rising tensions after the killing of Hamas deputy chief Saleh al-Arori, smoke and fighter jets were seen over the Israel-Lebanon border area on Sunday as Hezbollah and Israel continue to exchange cross-border fire. Hezbollah has been escalating tensions at the border since October last year. Saleh was killed in a drone attack in the suburbs of Beirut, a stronghold of Hamas' Lebanese ally Hezbollah, in an attack blamed on Israel, which has neither denied or confirmed it carried out the killing. And moving on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met Japanese Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa on Sunday on a first visit to Kyiv. Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa pledged Japan's continued support for Ukraine during her unannounced visit. The Japanese Foreign Ministry said in a statement that Japan would strongly demonstrate its commitment to the recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine under a public-private partnership by hosting a Japan-Ukraine conference on the 19th of February. Also, Japanese Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa said her country will continue to support Ukraine during her surprise visit to Kyiv on Sunday. Kamikawa held a news conference with her Ukrainian counterpart Dmytro Kuleba into a bomb shelter due to an air alert. During the joint news conference, Kuleba stressed Ukraine's need for air defense systems to repel Russian attacks. She pledged millions of dollars to NATO to help Ukraine avert Russian drone strikes and announced donations of generators and transformers.
Japan is determined to continue supporting Ukraine so that its peace can return and restore the beautiful land again. Japan has decided to allocate another $37 million to NATO's trust fund to provide equipment such as drone detection systems.
Meanwhile, homes in Ukraine's second city of Kharkiv escaped being hit by a fresh Russian missile attack on Sunday, the mayor reported. As per the preliminary information, there are no damage or casualties. The Kharkiv regional governor said that Russian S-300 missiles had hit Kharkiv city twice and that strikes were also recorded in nearby Vovchansk, but so far no casualties have been reported. Kharkiv and Vovchansk lie close to the border near Belgorod in Russia. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Satellite images show damage caused by Japan's earthquake. Brazil commemorates first anniversary of uprising by former President Jair Bolsonaro supporters. And the US East Coast was pounded by a winter storm, leaving snow-covered yards, cars and roadways.
We bring to you the legendary city of Ayodhya and tell you what makes Ayodhya everything that has got to do with the land of Lord Ram.
यहाँ रग रग में हर जगह राम ही है। सनातन धर्म के लिए तो गौरव की बात है। कण कण में भी भगवान राम की सत्ता का एहसास हमें होता है यदि हम लोग ध्यान से उसका अवलोकन करें। आज भी होता है।
This is 10th century old Hanumangadi temple.
यहाँ हनुमान जी महाराज राजा के रूप में बैठे हैं। भारत की संस्कार, संस्कृति मठ से, मंदिर से, साधु से, संत से, ऋषि से, मुनि से, महात्मा से जुड़ा हुआ है।
ये विष्णु का मस्तक है, तो यहाँ पे हर कण पावन है। यहाँ
voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock on Sunday announced that Germany will allow deliveries of Eurofighter jets to Saudi Arabia. While Chancellor Olaf Scholz pushed to unblock the deliveries, coalition was against the move, highlighting the human rights concerns related to Saudi Arabia. It is to be noted that the Eurofighter project is a joint venture of Britain, Germany, Spain and Italy. Addressing a conference in Jerusalem, the minister called on to Israel to do more to protect civilians in Gaza. Also, German Foreign Ministry says Israel can count on our staunch solidarity in the fight against blind terrorism.
It is becoming more and more clear. Israel army must do more to protect civilians in Gaza. It must find a way to fight Hamas without so many people dying or to be injured. The suffering of so many innocent people cannot go on like this. We need a less intensive operation.
And moving on, former President Donald Trump marked the 3rd anniversary of the Capitol assault by calling the migrant surge the real insurrection. Speaking at a campaign event in Clinton, Iowa, Trump called those jailed in the wake of the January 6, 2020 attack hostages and said they had been mistreated by the Biden administration. Speaking to more than 1,000 supporters in a school gymnasium, Trump repeated his unfounded claims that the 2020 election was fraudulent and cast himself as a victim of political persecution.
First in the nation, it begins right here in Iowa on January 15th, and Joe Biden's Banana Republic ends on November 5th, 2024. That's what it is. And with your help, we're going to bring back our country. We're going to bring it back from hell, because this country has been in hell. What they've done, and they ought to, you know what they ought to do? They ought to release the J6 hostages. They've suffered enough. They ought to release them. I call them hostages. Some people call them prisoners. I call them hostages. Release the J6 hostages, Joe. Release them, Joe. You can do it real easy, Joe. This guy, what he's done to people.
Migrants in Mexico continue to march north towards the U.S. border after being separated from the caravan they were traveling in by government officials. A 4,000-person caravan traveling through southern Mexico winded up this week after leaders said migration authorities had promised to provide travel permits if the caravan was split up to be processed at several migration centers. A week after U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken, visited Mexico, the caravan broke up and an agreement was reached to collaborate more closely with the Mexican government to address record migration at their shared border. Well, in Spain, Coast Guards rescued 132 migrants off the Canary Islands, and at least 50 arrived by their own means to El Matorral beach. During one of the rescue operations, Spain's Coast Guard also rescued a man traveling in a truck tire and transported him to Gran Tarajal port, along with 51 other migrants rescued from a boat off the coast of the island. A total of 56,852 migrants illegally entered Spain by land or sea in 2023. An 82% year-on-year increase and the highest number since 2018. Moving on, in a joint operation, Colombia and Ecuador busted a criminal organization that supplied around 5 tons of drugs to Europe and the US. The year-long operation ended with the capture of Colombian brothers Joder and Iron Ciaro, leaders of the Los Cava organization, and wanted for various drug-related crimes. The organization supplied the drugs every month, which has been contained for now. Well, Taiwan's defense ministry said it detected 3 Chinese balloons flying over the Taiwan Strait, the latest in the spate of such balloons the ministry says it has spotted over the past month. One of the balloons crossed over the southern tip of Taiwan Island, the ministry said in a statement. The ministry accused China of threatening aviation safety and waging psychological warfare with the balloons days before key Taiwanese elections. Similar balloon activities were observed in the Taiwan Strait last month. International concerns over China's deployment of spy balloons intensified in February 2023 when the United States shot down a comparable device, asserting it was a Chinese surveillance balloon. Meanwhile, China said its security agencies found another incident of spying in which the British Secret Intelligence Service, also known as MI6, used a foreigner in China to collect secrets and information. China's Ministry of State Security revealed on a social media account that a foreigner was in charge of an overseas consulting agency, and in 2015, M16 established an intelligence cooperative relationship with the person. The M16 also instructed him to enter China several times and instructed him to use his public identity as a cover to collect China-related intelligence for British spying, the statement said. The consulting agency was not disclosed by the Chinese government. Meanwhile, the British government has said Chinese spies are targeting its officials in sensitive positions in politics, defense and business as part of an increasingly spying operation to gain access to secrets. Well, satellite images show Japan's earthquake, which caused damage. The 7.6 magnitude quake destroyed infrastructure and power links to 22,000 homes in the Hokuriku region. Over 30,000 evacuees awaited aid, with rain hampering efforts to sift the rubble for survivals. And amid nature fury, as Britain still grapples with the after effect of the floods that happened due to the rains last week, PM Sunak speaks about the government's preparations on flood defences. Speaking with Environment Agency workers on Sunday, Sunak said $6.6 billion had been invested in flood defences, adding that more than 1,000 Environment Agency personnel were assisting local communities in rehabilitation. Rivers and banks have been overflowing as a succession of storms battered England and Wales.
When it comes to flood defences in particular, we've invested £5.2 billion in flood defences over the period in question. That's a record sum, far more than we've done in the future. That's contributed to protecting over 300,000 homes. And of course, there have been many people affected by what's happened over the past week, but also 49,000 homes have been protected from flooding as a result of that investment, and also things like the pumps that I've been seeing here today and the flood barriers. Just in the community I've been walking around, hundreds of of homes have been protected because of those investments.
Meanwhile, a winter storm pounded the U.S. East Coast, leaving snow-covered yards, cars and roadways. Footage shows individuals shoveling snow and posing for photos in a winter paradise. Massachusetts reported 12 inches of snow, while Maine experienced snowfall on the 6th of January. Well, 5 people have been trapped in a cave in southwestern Slovenia since Saturday due to heavy rainfall raising water levels. The group, which consists of 2 tour guides and a family of 3, is safe within the 8.2-kilometer-long Krisna Jama cave, which is only accessible by boat. Rescuers managed to reach the group briefly and delivered food, water and a heated tent. 3 to 4 hours will still be taken for the new team of divers to reach theirs. And the final rescue depends on the water levels falling. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Colombians celebrated diversity in Pasto with a colorful parade, marking the end of the Blacks and the Whites Carnival. The festival, inspired by Colombian heritage, biodiversity and myths, features floats and a 6-hour parade on the Day of the Whites and the Day of the Blacks. Brazil is marking the first anniversary of a violent uprising by former President Jair Bolsonaro's supporters on January 8th, which resulted in the destruction of Congress, Presidential Palace and Supreme Court. The uprising reflects severe polarization in Brazil, influenced by leftist President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Bolsonaro was barred from public office until 2030. The bodies of 2 hikers have been discovered by Italian mountain rescue team in the Alps close to the Swiss border. One was being recovered from a lake. The other was discovered buried in the snow. The rescue team, despite strong winds, sent a helicopter to the scene and a dog trained in rescue operations. The victims have not been named yet. In New York City, Mayor Eric Adam and Deputy Commissioner of International Affairs Dilip Chauhan attended the Mata Ki Chauki celebration in New York. Eric Adam also said, if we look at the Hindu community in New York City, this is extremely important as it gives the Hindu community to celebrate and lift up their spirituality. The Balochistan diaspora have been staging protests outside the White House against Pakistan and the enforced disappearances of Baloch people, with one of the protesters being a Baloch individual. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting Gujarat, where he will inaugurate Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024 on Wednesday. Indian Air Force C-130J Super Hercules aircraft makes maiden night landing at Kargil Strip. And cold to severe cold day conditions to continue in parts of northern India. Met Department issues orange alert.
We bring to you the legendary city of Ayodhya and tell you what makes Ayodhya everything that has got to do with the land of Lord Ram.
यहाँ रग रग में हर जगह राम ही है। सनातन धर्म के लिए तो गौरव की बात है। कण कण में भी भगवान राम की सत्ता का एहसास हमें होता है यदि हम लोग ध्यान से उसका अवलोकन करें। आज भी होता है।
This is 10th century old Hanuman Gari temple.
यहाँ हनुमान जी महाराज राजा के रूप में बैठे हैं। भारत की संस्कार, संस्कृति मठ से, मंदिर से, साधु से, संत से, ऋषि से, मुनि से, महात्मा से जुड़ा हुआ है।
ये विष्णु का मस्तक है, तो यहाँ पे हर कण पावन है। यहाँ
voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles, and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger, and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science, and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Maldives suspends 3 ministers after India strongly raises concerns over derogatory remarks against India. Explore Indian Islands #trends. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina wins 4th straight term. Her party secures 2/3 majority in polls. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will hold talks in the UAE and Saudi Arabia on Monday before heading on to Israel. Netanyahu pledges to continue Gaza war until all goals achieved. Zverev leads Germany to the United Cup title against Poland in Sydney. And moving on, the High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, and Sri Lanka's Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, Dr. Bandula Gunawardena, launched a track rehabilitation project at Galgamuva railway station on Sunday. The second phase of the project for track rehabilitation of Maho-Anuradhapura line is being executed under an Indian line of credit of $318 million and will be completed in the period of 6 months. The upgrade will help people from Northern Province to seamlessly travel to the capital of the island nation. And well, in a major milestone for the Indian Air Force in terms of operational and troops deployment capabilities, the IAF demonstrated a groundbreaking feat by landing a C-130J Super Hercules aircraft on an airstrip in Kargil during night for the first time. Making the operation even more complex, the Indian Air Force employed terrain masking en route, a technique of low-altitude flight used by military aircraft to avoid enemy radar and infrared detection. Enhancing the stealth and security of the aircraft and the troops, the night landing exercise was integrated with the training mission of the Garud Commandos, an elite special unit of the Indian Air Force, enhancing operational coordination between its air and ground units. Located in northern Union Territory of Ladakh at an altitude of 8,800 feet, Kargil holds immense strategic significance for India's defense capabilities as it has a close proximity with Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and China. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Indian state of Gujarat for 2 days starting Monday. PM will inaugurate Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024 at Mahatma Mandir, Gandhinagar. Meghna Dev reports for more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit in Gandhinagar, the capital of Gujarat, which is a western state in India. This global summit will be held from the 10th to 12th of January, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding talks with global CEOs as well as with head of states. Also, this time, the global summit, the theme is on Gateway to the Future. The Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit was first launched in 2003 when the current Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. The 20th anniversary of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit was celebrated in September last year.
Vibrant Gujarat की सभा 3 में इस समिट से कुछ 100 पार्टिसिपेंट्स और डेलीगेट जुड़े थे. बहुत छोटा सा कार्यक्रम था. आज 40,000 से ज्यादा पार्टिसिपेंट्स और डेलीगेट्स इस समिट में हिस्सा लेने के लिए आना शुरू हुए हैं। 2003 में इस समिट में सिर्फ गिनती भर देशों का पार्टिसिपेशन था। आज 135 देश इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं। 2003 में इस समिट की शुरुआत में 30 के आसपास एग्जीबिटर्स आए थे। अब 2000 से अधिक एग्जीबिटर्स इस समिट में आते हैं।
The summit is held biennially, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the summit was not held for the last 2 times. With time, the summit has evolved as one of the most reputed global forums for business networking, knowledge sharing, and strategic partnerships for inclusive growth and sustainable development. Meghna Dev's report, DD India.
And Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is leaving on a 2-day visit to United Kingdom on Monday. Along with high-level defence delegation, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will hold a bilateral meeting with his UK counterpart, Secretary of State for Defence Grant Shapps. Discussion on a wide range of defence, security and industrial cooperation issues are expected. He will also interact with the CEOs and industry leaders of UK defence industry and meet with the Indian community. Also, India's Home Minister Amit Shah will chair the National Mega Conclave on Primary Agricultural Credit Societies here in New Delhi today. The attendees will also include pharmacists of PACS who have obtained drug licenses for operating Jan Aushadhi Kendras. The initiative will provide new opportunities to PACS for diversification and expansion of their economic activities, including increased incomes and more job opportunity. Well, India Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert of cold wave over parts of Punjab, Haryana, Delhi NCR, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, with cold to severe cold day conditions to continue. The IMD forecast dense to very dense fog at night and morning hours in the northern India. Several parts of Indian capital Delhi woke up to dense fog unaccompanied by a bone-chilling cold wave. Well, DD India correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya joins us live for the weather. Well, Tapas, entire North India engulfed in biting cold. What is the status of fog right now, and what disruptions have been caused in rail and flight operations?
Yes, that's true. There's, dense fog has already engulfed the NCR region. In fact, what we can tell you is that as per IMD, it is expected to stay like that in the next 24 hours. But there is good news coming in. There is a western disturbance. There's a trough of western disturbance that is currently passing over northwest part of the country. And because of that, we will find that there will be a rainfall spill likely over the northwest as well as on the central India. With as per IMD, isolated thunderstorm is also expected along with hailstorm over certain places of eastern Rajasthan and west Madhya Pradesh. These are the prediction for 8th as well as for 9th. So we expect that light to moderate rainfall taking place in the northwest part of the country. Which means is that the current spell of foggy condition that is currently prevailing over the last 1.5 weeks is expected to improve in many ways. The other part that I can tell you is that the down south, the peninsula is also experiencing heavy thunderstorm as well as rainfall activity. So that's another point that one needs to keep in mind. When it comes to foggy condition, we have always seen that the flights as well as the train services has been disrupted, and it is no different today. Also, we have the reports coming in that many flights were delayed while taking off from Delhi airport. What I can also tell you is that many of the trains that are coming in to Delhi have seen delay by more than 2 to 3 hours. So those are other aspects that I can tell you. But good news for Delhiites who have been battling this particular cold wave condition for almost more than a week now, starting from 25th of December till the first week of January. One expect that they will be giving a sign of relief with the current spell of rainfall activity that is expected to lift the foggy condition, and we might see a temperature drop, the minimum temperature dropping, but we will also see the foggy condition lifting off. So that's going to be a major thing for Delhiites.
All right, Tapas, also many schools have opened today in Delhi, especially the senior children are supposed to go to school. Are the people facing problem in commuting?
Yes, they do, especially, if you're using your own private vehicle, if you're using buses, that's a different, ball game altogether. But if you're using your own vehicle, we do find that because of the foggy condition, the visibility at some places in some pockets of Delhi NCR has reduced considerably. Though today it's a little different. It's better than a couple of days back, where the visibility has dropped to almost 100-150 meters at some places. But even then, with the kind of visibility that we can see, in fact, behind me, hardly you can see anything. So in that sense, a lot of people are facing difficulty to drop their wards off to schools. But again, that's expected in Delhi NCR, and the northwest part of the country has always seen this kind of condition in the month of December and January. So they always brace up for this particular situation.
All right, Tapas, also the most important, what is the air quality like, as supposedly that is a major cause for concern these days?
That's true. There is air quality has been a cause of concern, but again, if you take a close look today, Delhi has seen change. Let me just give you Delhi's air quality. It's 327 as per the CPCB, that's Center for Pollution Control Board. As per that, Delhi's AQI is currently at 322, which is poor, which is in poor category, but it is still better than if you take a close look at the December's AQI, you will realize that it was hovering somewhere in the region of 400. From there, it is definitely a much better condition. But again, 322 is nothing to write home about. And there's a lot of pollution which mixes up with the foggy condition and creates trouble for people, especially the asthmatic patient. So that's something that we need to. But again, these are things that one has to deal with and have to live with in Delhi, because the condition hasn't improved and it continues to be worsened with the kind of vehicular pollution that we have seen in the national capital, especially in neighboring areas of national capital.
All right, Tapas, thank you so much for that update on weather. And moving on, South Indian state of Tamil Nadu braces for heavy to very heavy rainfall propelled by cyclonic circulation originating from the Bay of Bengal. The heaviest rainfall was recorded between Pondicherry and Tamil Nadu Delta, with the India Meteorological Department registered up to 17 centimeters of rainfall. Expectations persist for ongoing light to moderate rainfall accompanied by intermittent, intense spells, thunderstorms and lightning across coastal districts of Tamil Nadu. In response to the heavy rainfall, educational institutions in 10 districts announced holiday. Well, DD India correspondent Anbar Hassan joins us from Chennai in Tamil Nadu for more. Well, Anbar Hassan, what is the state of rains in the city right now?
Actually, now, due to the cyclonic circulation in the Bay of Bengal, due to that, the KTCC region of Tamil Nadu, the Kanjipuram, Tiruvallur, and Chennai and Chengalpattu districts, and also the coastal districts of Tamil Nadu has been getting a heavy rainfall for last 2 days. And due to that, the school leave has been announced by the district administration for the 10 and more districts. And particularly due to that, there is a heavy rainfall from the Pondicherry region, the coastal side, towards Nagapattinam, where the East Coast Road ends. These in between that, there is a heavy rain spell. Due to that, in Nagapattinam, the district headquarters of Nagapattinam, 17 centimeter of rainfall has been registered last 24 hours. And also there is a Tirunelveli Ghat region, the western coast, western parts of Tamil Nadu, where the heavy rainfall has been registered. Due to that, the Tirunelveli to Tuticorin, the southern district, also getting heavy rainfall, and particularly the Tenkasi, where the famous tourist spot Kutralam. We can see yesterday the visuals. There is a heavy rain spell. Due to that, there is a flood-like situation in the Kutralam rainfall in that. And also due to that, from Chennai to Nagapattinam, there is a heavy rainfall. And district administration of various, particularly the Delta region, where the heavy rainfall has been predicted. And also IMD given an orange alert to the 13 districts of Tamil Nadu for yesterday and today also. And due to that, there is a heavy rainfall. We can see right now in Chennai itself, last 24 hours from yesterday onwards, there is a heavy rainfall. Particularly, it's actually a light rainfall, continuously swelling in the city.
Right, we can see
due to that, there is a mobility, transport and all.
Right,
yeah.
we can see light rainfall behind you.
Due to
also.
that, schools.
Right, that's what I was about to ask you. And does it have any other warnings or any advisories issued by the government considering the rainfall?
IMD actually advised the fishermen to not go to the sea for the fishing, and also IMD says that due to the heavy rainfall expected, and there is a previous last December there is a flood situation in the southern districts of Tamil Nadu and Chennai. So the prediction also given prior to this time, and people also cautioned to be any particular reason. Then only they can go for that. So this is a warning and caution given by the IMD. And the state government, and also they are doing as whatever the precautionary works are they are doing.
All right, thank you so much, Anbarasan, for that update from Chennai. And moving on, let's take a look now at more stories making news. Kapil Muni Temple in South 24 Parganas of Indian state of West Bengal lit up ahead of Ganga Sagar Fair 2024. It is the mark for the end of winters and the starting of longer days that bring hopes for a new beginning. This is the time that the Ganga Sagar is celebrated. The preparations for Ganga Sagar Fair 2024 start 5-6 months earlier. Many departments of the central government work jointly to organize the event. In a unique combination of tradition, religion and sacrifice, a large number of devotees, including children, celebrate the Flower Kabaddi festival in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Devotees carry kabaddi, which is a wooden pole, with 2 baskets that contain offering to the deity. The devotees carry the kabaddi for various reasons, such as to ask for forgiveness, to seek blessings, or to fulfill a vow. Preparations are in full swing for the consecration ceremony of Lord Ram Temple in Indian city of Ayodhya. Special arrangements have been made near the Saryu River for the rituals. The elaborate 7-day rituals of the Ram Temple consecration ceremony will begin on the banks of the Saryu on January 16th and will culminate with the consecration of Lord Ram's idol on January 22nd. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India's energy production set to rise from the deepest frontiers of Krishna Godavari. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli recalled to India's T20 international squad for Afghanistan series beginning on the 11th of Jan. And 2024 Golden Globes Award kick-off on Sunday in California's Beverly Hills.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khuranan. On to some business news now. Asian share markets moved slowly on Monday as inflation data from China and Tokyo are due this week, with analysts looking for deflation to ease a touch in China. Another reason for the slow growth was attributed to a corporate reporting season where robust results are needed to justify high stock valuations. Geopolitical tensions were also on the radar as disruptions in the Red Sea raised oil prices and shipping costs in Europe. In the United States, congressional leaders agreed on a $1.6 trillion spending deal aimed at averting a partial government shutdown. Also, U.S. Congress has agreed on a $1.59 trillion spending deal aiming to avert a partial government shutdown later this month, informed the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson on Sunday. This comes when both the houses reached closer to the January 19th deadline for funds approval. Last year, both the houses could not come to an agreement on 12 annual bills for government funds for the fiscal year beginning in October. The designated amount for defense spending is $886 billion and $704 billion for non-defense spending, subject to an increase later. Moving on, oil prices dipped on Monday with sharp cuts by top exporter Saudi Arabia and a rise in the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries output. Saudi Aramco dropped price of Arab light crude for Asia to their lowest in 27 months. The world's largest oil exporter also cut prices for North America, Northwest Europe and the Mediterranean. The move comes despite an intensifying geopolitical situation in the Middle East. Well, India commences first oil production from the complex and difficult deep water KG-DWN 98/2 block situated off the coast of Bay of Bengal. The energy production is expected to be 45,000 barrels per day and over 10 million cubic meters of gas per day. It will contribute towards self-reliant in energy production in India. This project is expected to add 7% to current India's local oil production and 7% to India's natural gas production. The production will help India save nearly 110 billion Indian rupees per year. India imports 85% of its crude oil requirements and about half of its natural gas needs. And Germany's train drivers' union called on members to strike this week. The striking union is demanding a reduction in working hours from 38 to 35 hours per week for shift workers, along with better wage from the state-owner rail operator Deutsche Bahn. The union has announced a strike in passenger transport starting earlier Wednesday and lasting until Friday. The freight transport drivers begin their strike on January 9th, the union said. You're watching DD India News and time now for some sports news. Batters Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli have been recalled to India's T20 international team after more than a year for the three-match T20 international series against Afghanistan. Starting in Mohali on the 11th of Jan, the duo last appeared had in T20 match for India was the World Cup semi-final loss to England in Adelaide in November 2022. They have not been selected in the shortest format since then. Rohit would captain the side against Afghanistan as Hardik Pandya continues to remain out of action due to injury. The second T20 international will take place on January 14th and the third on the 17th of January. Well, Australia secured a 6-wicket win over India in the second T20 international to level the three-match series 1-1. India is restricted to 130 thanks to Annabel Sutherland and Georgia Wareham, who shared 4 wickets between them and conceded just 35 runs in their 8 overs. India kept losing wickets regularly to end up with a below-par total. A target never looked threatening when Dew also came into play. Mandhana, who looked good for her 23, was unable to convert her start, falling to Sutherland's shot ball while trying to go big. Australia started rapidly in the chase, helped in part by the dew that had come in. Captain Alyssa Haley used the fielding restrictions in the power play to her advantage, coming down the track and lofting the ball over the fielders in the ring to find boundaries. Though Australia lost 4 wickets, but Elise Perry and Phoebe Litchfield shared an unbroken stand of 36 to take the visitors over the line. And the Japan's women's hockey team received a warm welcome in Ranchi city of Indian state of Jharkhand. The team performed the traditional dance. They will take part in the highly anticipated International Hockey Federation Olympic qualifiers, which are scheduled to take place from the 13th to the 19th of January. Japan will begin their campaign against Czech Republic on the 13th of January. The other teams in the Pool A are Germany and Chile. Pool B includes host India, New Zealand, Italy and United States. The top 3 teams from the tournament will qualify for the Paris Olympic Games 2024. And Germany beat top seeds Poland to clinch the United Cup in Sydney after Alexander Zverev and Laura Siegemund won the deciding mixed doubles tie over Hubert Hurkacz and Iga Swiatek. With the score tied at 1-1 after Swiatek and Zverev won their respective single matches, the German duo won the doubles match 6-4, 5-7, 10-4. Germany had a relatively poor group stage and just about qualified for the knockouts, but Zverev and Siegemund formed a formidable pair to rescue their side by winning 3 deciders in as many delays to lead their team to the title.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to the United Cup. Thank you for the guys who also didn't play the United Cup. I mean, you guys had as big as a role as anybody, you know, supporting from the bench for the last 10 days. I think it's been absolutely amazing. It's been a pleasure, and it's been absolutely so much fun for everybody to be part of this team, especially for me. I really thank you guys for being part of this. I really, couldn't be happier sharing this trophy with anybody than you guys.
And the Hollywood Awards season begins as the 2024 Golden Globes Award event is underway in California's Beverly Hills. Let us have a look at the red carpet. We'll come back with winners in our next bulletin. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.